Are you thinking about buying a Rolex? Hold on, not every Rolex watch is a smart purchase. Sure, they all look incredible on your wrist and carry that famous crown logo, but some models will cost you thousands of dollars up front and then lose value faster than you can say, luxury timepiece. In this countdown, we're revealing 10 Rolex watches that might seem like dream purchases, but are actually money pits in disguise. From poor resale value to questionable design choices, these watches prove that even the mighty Rolex can miss the mark. Let's dive into our list. Number 10. Rolex Explorer 36-1124-273 two-tone. The Rolex Explorer 36-124273 in two-tone might catch your eye at first glance, but this watch is a perfect example of why mixing metals doesn't always work magic. The Explorer line was built on a foundation of rugged simplicity and pure tool watch credibility. Sir Edmund Hillary wore an Explorer when conquering Mount Everest, for crying out loud. But this two-tone version throws that heritage right out the window. The combination of stainless steel and yellow gold creates a confused identity that sits awkwardly between sporty and dressy without excelling at either. The watch loses the clean, purposeful aesthetic that made the Explorer legendary in the first place. Worse yet, two-tone Rolex watches consistently underperform in the resale market compared to their all-steel siblings. Collectors and enthusiasts generally prefer the classic stainless steel Explorer because it stays true to the model's adventure-ready roots. You'll pay a significant premium for that gold-accented purchase, but when it comes time to sell, you'll struggle to recoup your investment. The market just doesn't value this particular combination the way Rolex prices it. Number 9. Rolex Datejust 41 two-tone 1126-303. The Datejust 41 126303 in two-tone represents another questionable execution of Rolex's beloved dress watch. While the Datejust is an absolute icon in watchmaking history and has graced the wrists of presidents and celebrities for decades, this particular configuration misses the mark. The two-tone aesthetic, pairing stainless steel with yellow gold, creates a look that many modern watch enthusiasts consider dated and somewhat gaudy. It screams a very specific era that doesn't resonate with contemporary tastes. The 41mm case size is also controversial because it falls into an awkward middle ground, often wearing too large for those who prefer classic proportions, but not substantial enough for those seeking a bold presence. From an investment standpoint, you're looking at significant depreciation the moment you walk out of the authorized dealer. The retail premium you pay for the gold elements won't translate into resale value. Steel sports models and even solid gold pieces tend to hold value much better. If you're drawn to the Datejust, consider the all-steel version instead, which offers cleaner aesthetics and much better value retention. Number 8. Rolex Datejust 36-16200. Now, the Datejust 36-16200 might surprise you on this list, because the Datejust is arguably Rolex's most classic and historically significant model. However, this particular reference suffers from a fundamental problem. It's boring. In a world where Rolex sports models command insane premiums and waiting lists stretch for years, the plain Jane Datejust 36 with a smooth bezel and simple stick dial gets completely overlooked. There's nothing the watch doesn't photograph well, doesn't stand out on the wrist, and doesn't tell any compelling story. When you consider that you can buy excellent watches from other prestigious brands for similar money, watches that offer more character, better finishing, or superior complications, the value proposition crumbles. The resale market reflects this reality harshly. These watches sit unsold for months, and when they do move, it's often at significant discounts below retail. Unless you specifically need the most understated Rolex possible for very conservative professional environments, this watch is a hard sell. Number 7. Rolex Submariner 126619LB, white gold. The Submariner 126619LB, crafted entirely from white gold, sounds impressive until you examine what you're actually getting for your money. This watch costs roughly 4 times more than a standard stainless steel Submariner, yet to the untrained eye, it looks virtually identical. That's the fundamental problem with white gold watches. They don't offer the visual impact to justify their astronomical price tags. Unlike yellow gold or Everose gold, which clearly announce their precious metal status, white gold blends in with steel. White gold is significantly heavier than steel, making this watch uncomfortable for all-day wear. The added heft might seem luxurious at first, but after a few hours, it becomes fatiguing. From a collecting standpoint, specialized Submariners like this occupy a strange niche. They're too expensive for most enthusiasts, but not interesting enough for serious high-end collectors who would rather invest in vintage references or complications. Depreciation on precious metal submariners is brutal because the demand simply isn't there. Number 6. Rolex Yachtmaster 116621. The Yachtmaster 126621 in Everest Rollsoar represents Rolex's attempt to create a luxury sports watch, but it falls flat in almost every respect. The Yachtmaster has always struggled with an identity crisis. It looks like a submariner's fancier cousin, but it lacks the submariner's legendary diving heritage and tool watch credibility. It's positioned as a lifestyle piece for yacht owners, which immediately narrows its appeal to a tiny demographic. This particular reference combines oyster steel with Everose gold and features a chocolate dial, creating a color combination that polarizes opinion dramatically. Many find it overly flashy and mismatched. They don't have waiting lists, they don't command premiums, and they depreciate the moment you purchase them. You're paying Rolex money for a watch that doesn't deliver Rolex prestige. The market has spoken clearly. Collectors want Submariners, GMT Masters, and Daytonas. The Yachtmaster remains the overlooked middle child that tries too hard to be special, but ends up being neither sporty enough nor dressy enough to excel in any category. Number 5. Rolex Sea Dweller Katu 6603 Two-Tone. The Sea Dweller 126603 in two-tone yellow Rollsoar is perhaps the most confusing watch in Rolex's entire lineup. The Sea Dweller was created for professional saturation divers working at extreme depths. It's a serious tool watch with a helium escape valve and 1,020-meter water resistance. So why on earth would anyone add decorative yellow gold to such a utilitarian instrument? It's like putting racing stripes on a bulldozer. The two-tone treatment completely undermines the Sea Dweller's purpose and heritage. To look like they dive, but never actually will, which is a pretty hollow selling point. The aesthetic is also questionable at best. The combination of black dial, ceramic bezel, steel, and yellow gold creates visual noise that lacks the clean coherence of the all-steel version. Market performance is predictably poor. This watch offers the worst of both worlds. It's too expensive because of the gold content, but that gold doesn't add any meaningful value or desirability. You're far better off buying the standard steel Sea Dweller and saving yourself tens of thousands of dollars. Number 4. Rolex Explorer 2 22657 Aero. The Explorer 2 22657 in its current iteration has disappointed many longtime fans of this distinctive reference. Rolex updated this model recently, but the changes haven't been well received by the enthusiast community. The case has been thickened, making the watch wear larger and less comfortably than previous generations. The hands have been modified in ways that reduce legibility, which is ironic for a watch designed for explorers who need to read time quickly in challenging conditions. The fixed bezel, while practical in theory, lacks the visual interest of rotating bezels found on other Rolex sports models. The dial, despite featuring the signature orange 24-hour hand, appears somewhat plain and uninspiring in person. It's not rare, it's not particularly beautiful, and it doesn't have the cultural cachet of other professional models. The watch feels like an afterthought in Rolex's catalog, and the market treats it accordingly. Dealers often have these in stock when everything else is sold out. That tells you everything you need to know about demand and future value retention. Number 3. Rolex Explorer 36 12427 The Explorer 36 reference 12427 is a watch that should be great but stumbles due to unfortunate timing and execution. This was the last 36mm Explorer before Rolex discontinued it in favor of the current 40mm version. While the 36mm size is actually perfect for many wrists and stays true to the Explorer's vintage proportions, this particular reference suffers from several issues. The most significant problem is the movement. Rolex equipped this watch with the caliber 3130, which lacks the newer technology and longer power reserve of movements in current production. For a watch you're buying new or nearly new, having outdated technology is frustrating. The clasp is the older style without the EasyLink extension. These might seem like small details, but they add up to an overall experience that feels less refined than it should at this price point. Market value has been inconsistent. Initially, when Rolex discontinued 36mm Explorers, there was speculation that these would appreciate. That hasn't materialized in any meaningful way. You can find these watches readily available, often below retail, which tells you the market hasn't embraced them as collectible pieces. Number 2. Rolex Lady Date Just 28 279160. The Lady Date Just 28 reference 279160 represents a problematic category in Rolex's lineup. Smaller watches marketed specifically toward women suffer from several disadvantages in today's market. First, the gendered marketing feels outdated when many women prefer larger, traditionally masculine sports watches. Rolex's lady designation immediately limits the audience and creates an artificial boundary that modern consumers reject. From an investment angle, smaller Rolex watches consistently perform poorly in the secondary market. They're harder to sell, they appeal to a narrower demographic, and they command significant discounts compared to retail pricing. The materials and craftsmanship are identical to larger Rolex models, but you're essentially paying a premium for less watch. The proportions also limit dial designs and complications, resulting in relatively simple watches that don't showcase Rolex's technical capabilities. Unless you specifically require a very small watch for particular aesthetic or professional reasons, this reference represents poor value. You'd be better served by a 31mm Oyster Perpetual or a 36mm Datejust, both of which offer better proportions and stronger resale prospects. Number 1. Rolex Sea Dweller 126600. Taking our number 1 spot is the Sea Dweller 126600, and this might shock Rolex fans because it's an all-steel professional model. However, this watch exemplifies everything wrong with buying Rolex watches at retail in today's market. The Sea Dweller 126600 costs significantly more than a Submariner, but offers questionable advantages for the premium. Yes, it has greater water resistance and a helium escape valve, but unless you're actually a commercial saturation diver, these features are completely unnecessary. You're paying for capabilities you'll never use. The watch is also noticeably thicker than a Submariner, making it less comfortable for daily wear. The increased case size doesn't translate to improved aesthetics. Many find the proportions awkward. The red text on the dial, while paying homage to vintage models, expensive to be an entry-level Rolex sports watch but not special enough to command collector interest. When people save up for a Rolex sports watch, they overwhelmingly choose the Submariner GMT Master or Daytona. The Sea Dweller gets overlooked consistently. Resale values reflect this reality harshly. These watches trade below retail regularly, and they don't generate the excitement or demand that would protect your investment. For the money, you're simply better off choosing something else.